Okay, we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream, 7:30 p.m. It is. I've got some microphone issues. Just let me see if I can work these out. Just give me 2 seconds to see. Okay, we should be nearly working here with the microphone. I'm not sure. But if I can't work this out, we're going to be in trouble today. That is for sure. Because if I can't get the sound happening, and it's going to be an issue, I think. So let me just see here if I can quickly do this or not. No, nothing is coming through with the sound. So we're going to be in trouble today with the sound, I think. Is this better? I don't know. Let me know if this is better in the comment section below, because I'm struggling with the sound currently. I will tell you that. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but for whatever reason, the sound is not coming up here on my screen. Is it this one? No, it is not that one. So we are in trouble today with the sound. So I'll try and get through it as best I can. I might not need this microphone anymore, so I'll just get this out of the way. But we'll get stuck into the main news stories of the day. And we'll see this one here first. At least 3 people are dead and 15 injured after powerful waves sweep people into the sea in Tenerife. At least 3 people have died and another 15 others were injured on Saturday in separate incidents caused by strong waves in Tenerife. On a day when the Canary Islands were under a coastal weather alert, the worst incident occurred at Roque de las Bodegas beach in Tagana, Santa Cruz de Tenerife, where 6 French tourists were swept into the sea by a sudden wave. Emergency services, including a medical helicopter and ambulances, attended the scene. One woman with moderate injuries was airlifted to Nuestra Señora de Candelaria Hospital, while several others were treated for minor injuries, requiring 4 hospitalization and 1 being treated on site. Local police said the group had ignored safety warnings and a cordoned off area designed to prevent access due to dangerous sea conditions. So there we go, tourists in the wrong place at the wrong time. They're ignoring the warnings, as we just saw, and a serious incident taking place in Tenerife with those 6 tourists being swept into the sea, 3 dying and another 15 people still missing, I think, as we saw there. Now I'm just going to try and work on this audio problem. Just give me 1 minute. I'm just going to disappear for a minute while I do this. 1 minute. Okay, this should be now in order, and if it is, thankfully, I think the sound is now here. I had a problem with whatever reason, another technical problem. This program has started to give me the SHI1Ts, but back in action today. We'll get stuck into the second piece of news here quickly. Enough of my waffling on. And the second piece of news here, and it is that Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez says that his government will serve the full term and present a budget. Spain is living one of its best moments in 45 years. Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez has confirmed that his government will present the 2025 state budget and intends to complete the full parliamentary term. Speaking from Belém, Brazil at the UN Climate Summit, COP or COP30, Sánchez insisted that Spain is experiencing one of its best moments of the last 45 years, economically, socially and environmentally. Addressing the plenary, he warned that climate change is already causing deadly consequences, citing more than 20,000 deaths in Spain linked to extreme weather in recent years, including 237 victims of last year's Dana floods. He announced additional contributions to international climate funds and defended Spain's renewable energy expansion, stating that economic growth and emissions reduction can and must go hand in hand. Sánchez also stressed the importance of EU climate leadership and multilateral cooperation, calling for progress on the EU-Mercosur trade agreement. So some strong words there from Prime Minister Sanchez. He's going to serve his full term, as we can see there, and he's going to present himself for the next elections in 2027, and also he will organise a budget, even though he doesn't have majority support in the Spanish Parliament currently, with Carles Puigdemont and company abandoning their position with this government. And so I don't know whether this is pure fiction that Pedro Sanchez is living currently, or whether he indeed thinks he will be able to get to 2027 in the current state. And let's be honest about this, it says a lot for the current opposition party, the PP, that Sanchez is still in power. Weak leadership from that political party, the Partido Popular. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future as far as this is concerned. Rarely does a government get away with not presenting budgets, but here in Spain it doesn't seem to be a priority for this government, even though they said they will get it over the line. But with what support? That is the question. Next piece of news here now, and a police officer is critically injured after drug trafficker opens fire in Seville. A national police officer is in a critical condition after being shot by a drug trafficker in Isla Mayor, Seville, early on Monday. That should be another day, I think. The officer was attempting to enter a warehouse suspected of being used as a drug nursery, a location where narcotics are stored and prepared for distribution, when a guard opened fire with what investigators describe as a military-grade weapon. One bullet struck the officer in the stomach and another in the hip, penetrating both his protective vest and the police vehicle. He underwent emergency surgery at Virgen de Rocío Hospital and remains in intensive care. Police sources warn that drug gangs in southern Spain are becoming increasingly violent, more heavily armed and less afraid of law enforcement, pointing to recent incidents involving assault rifles used to guard drug shipments along the Guadalquivir River. So that's what's happening in southern Spain currently as far as the drug industry is concerned. The drug traffickers, more brazen than they have been in the past, taking on the police with military-grade weapons, and that is becoming worrying, I think, for populations of these small towns down there that are on the banks of that river, the river that goes through the city of Seville, of course, also through the city of Córdoba, and drug trafficking becoming an ever-increasingly large problem in that part of the country, with the, as I used the word before, the more brazen techniques of the drug traffickers. And are we getting to Colombia-style drug cartels? I don't know, but with the use of the weapons that they seem to be able to get their hands on, who knows what the future will hold as far as this is concerned, because it's a lucrative trade, that is for sure. And the final piece of news here now, and it is that Spain's king and queen have begun their first state visit to China to strengthen bilateral relations. King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia are travelling to China this week for their first official state visit to the country, aimed at consolidating diplomatic, economic and cultural ties. The visit includes a meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, as well as engagements with senior political leaders and Spanish businesses operating in China. The trip begins in Chengdu, capital of the Sichuan province, where Spain opened its most recent consulate in 2022. The choice reflects Spain's interest in reinforcing regional connections beyond Beijing. On Tuesday, the royal couple will arrive in the Chinese capital, where Xi Jinping and his wife Peng Liyuan will host a private dinner before bilateral meeting involving trade, investment access and cooperation in global affairs. Queen Letizia will follow her own cultural agenda, including events promoting Spanish language and celebrating the legacy of Spanish poet Antonio Machado. So the Spanish king and queen heading over to China, following in the footsteps of other Spanish politicians, or the king really not a politician, I don't think, but following the steps of Pedro Sanchez, who has been to China frequently over the last few years, I believe strengthening the ties with the economic giant that is China. And now the king heading there as well, hoping to strengthen ties also, not only economically, but also culturally, as we saw there. The Queen will do some activities as well, visiting different places and promoting, I think, as we saw, the Spanish language. Not sure how popular Spanish is in China. And also the poet Antonio Machado. Maybe he's got a bit of interest in China as well. I've got no idea. But interesting times we're living with Spain's relationship with China. Now let's have a look at some comments that have been left on the channel in recent times by viewers. We'll start with this one here. This is from Carolyn. I've just watched your video. You walked past many mobile homes parked on the road. Are these people homeless? Asks Carolyn. Well, the simple answer to that question, Carolyn, is that no, people in those homes are not, there's no one in those homes. They're just empty caravans parked on the side of the road because the local council here offered that spot for people to bring their caravans to. If you own a caravan in Spain, it's not easy to park your caravan. Most houses don't have an area where you can park the caravan on, and if you live in a flat or an apartment, almost impossible too. So difficult to leave them in the streets. And ever since the COVID pandemic back in, 2020, 2021, when people thought this would be their preferred way to travel in a caravan because they wanted to stay away from other people, basically, a lot of the caravans have been parked there ever since. In the summer months, they come and go. People do take them out and use them, but not frequently. And have people lived in the caravans? The answer is yes, but the police normally crack down on that fairly quickly and move people out because it's not a residential area. And if you're living in a caravan, not a motorhome, of course, a caravan, where do you shower? Where do you do all of these basic daily things? That's the question. So the answer is no. Thanks, Carolyn, for the comment. One here from Laurel, is this? A South America gang were just busted in the Sacramento, California area. Not the first gang. They go for lush gated homes, jewelry stores, and lots of shoplifting from various popular stores. Thanks for the comment there, Laurel. Yeah, we saw the gang the other day busted here in Spain. The Tren de Aragua or something, I think it is, a Venezuelan gang which was allegedly operating here in Spain. And I had never heard of this gang before. The newspapers the other day told me about it. But apparently, from some of the other comments that I've seen, the United States might also have issues with this gang, according to some. According to others, they don't exist. In some of the comments that I saw on the channel, it's a fictional gang that's been developed to have some type of, I don't know, but that's what some people are suggesting. So does this gang exist or not? I don't know. But according to the Spanish police, 15 people were arrested the other day belonging to this gang. So thanks for the comment. One here from El Fuji. Everyone the US has targeted as Tren de Aragua terrorists have been poor fishermen and recreational boaters. In the US, they are the latest bogeymen of the right wing, along with trans people. Make of that what you will. Thanks, El Fuji. This is obviously the comment that I saw that's saying that some people are skeptical of the even the existence of this gang, the Tren de Aragua gang from Venezuela, and being used, Venezuelans allegedly belonging to this group. But according to that comment there, poor fishermen and recreational boaters, so not belonging to this group at all according to that. So that's why a lot of the information is very, very difficult to understand. You get one point of view, then you get another point of view, you don't really know what's going on, and you believe whichever side you want to believe. Thanks for the comment. One here from Thomas. Does Spain have good facilities for electric vehicle charging? Thanks, Thomas, for the comment. To be honest, I've got no idea because I don't own an electric vehicle, so I can't tell you whether there is good infrastructure when it comes to charging, but plenty of people do have electric vehicles. Where they charge them, I don't know, but there must be places around the country. And I think when you own an electric vehicle, you're in the loop, aren't you, of the places where you can charge. Just like fuel car drivers know where petrol stations are, right? Because we've got an app on our phone, or we see them on the side of the road, or we go into an area where we think there's going to be a petrol station. I'm sure that electric vehicle owners do exactly the same thing with apps and things like that tell them where these charging stations are. I'll just get that comment back on the screen. I imagine that if you drive an electric vehicle, you will know where these charging points are. I have read in the paper on numerous occasions that Spain is a little bit behind when it comes to these charging points and the amount of them. Again, don't own an electric car, can't say, but maybe somebody watching the live stream today will have an electric car and will be able to fill us in on the supply of charging facilities, whether they're adequate or not. Let us know if you own an electric car. Another one here from Media Faust. AI should properly be called artificial idiocy because quite literally it makes people more stupid. Not so much those who are on the older side so they can remember a world without these services and have been taught how to find information the old school and hard way, but the young ones who grew up with all these things being easy to the point of having no clue how to otherwise get things done. Media Faust, thanks for the comment and a point of view on artificial intelligence. We had a debate last week, I think, on the use of artificial intelligence, some of the impact that it's having on younger people, on ourselves as well, and that Spain is very high up in the rankings of countries using artificial intelligence for whatever reason that may be, whether it's kids at school trying to get an advantage for their exams, whether teachers are promoting the use of artificial intelligence. We saw somebody working in a mobile telephone shop saying that they were giving away a free backpack if you downloaded the Google version of artificial intelligence, Gemini. So it's being pushed a lot here in Spain, AI, but as that person says, artificial idiocy, I think was the term used. So yeah, different points of view on this topic as well. Thanks for the comment. One here from House of Fruse, is it? Or House of Ruse. Too bad about the graffiti. Referring to a walk-around video that I did the other day, walked around a local town not far from where I live to show people what that side of Spain is like, the side that tourists don't normally see. And I mean, why would you want to go to some of these towns, especially when the sun's not shining and they're quite bleak places, I will say. But again, each to their own. People that live in these places, I'm sure, are happy, but I don't know if I could live in an apartment in one of these small towns with limited services, but that's just me. Throw in the graffiti on the walls as well. But that's a problem in many parts of Spain. Graffiti on the walls. I wouldn't really call it graffiti, it's tagging, you know. People go along with a can of paint or whatever, scribble some rubbish on a wall and think they're the bee's knees, and nobody cleans it because they know that somebody will come back the next day and do exactly the same thing. So it's a problem, but once you live here for a while, it sort of goes unnoticed. And the final one here from Gary, another great video. Quick question, would you normally leave a tip in a local restaurant or truck stop like this one, or is it just for the tourist places? Cheers. Good question, Gary. That referring to a food video that I put out maybe a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, can't remember exactly when it was, when I went to a roadside restaurant and had a meal. I've been to a couple in recent times. One was quite good. The service was good as well. And that one I would have left the tip. Not a lot of money, maybe €1, maybe €1.50, depending how much spare change I've got in my pocket. But the other one that I went to, which was a self-service style menu del dia, didn't leave a tip because there was no service. So not going to really be doing anything there. But yeah, I normally, if I have some change in my pocket, of course I do. But lots of places nowadays are bringing the old machine over to you. You know, the old whatever they're called, the FPOS machine or whatever it is, where you put your card down, beep it away. Lots of places now are including the tip options in that. So I don't know whether that's better or worse, because who does the tip go to? Does it go to the owner of the restaurant? Does it go to the wait staff? I don't know when you do it that way. Is it split up? Who knows? But lots of places now are trying to bring that in through the banks, obviously. And so tipping, the way is changing because a lot of people might not have coins in their pocket anymore. So they're trying to get that tip out of the customer to the wait staff, of course. So times are changing, as they say. Now I'm going to go into the live chat section in just a moment. The background picture, as we can see on the screen already, this one sent in by Ivor from Alaurín El Grande in Malaga, and this is a picture of Ivor's backyard, apparently, I think, with nice mountains in the background there, some palm trees next to the pool. We've got a cat sniffing around there as well, a black cat, and some. This would be a nice area, I suppose, in those summer months. So thanks, Ivor, for sending the photo through. And if anybody has a similar picture they would like to see on the backdrop, the email address is on the screen now, spainspeaks@gmail.com. Feel free, send your photos through to that email address, or anything else that you would like to send my way. spainspeaks@gmail.com is the email address. You can see it up there. What else do I need to do? I need to put the like icon on the screen. 51 likes currently. If you haven't hit the like icon, please do so. Just below the video, you will find it. We'll see if we can get up to a decent tally today. I don't know. We will see. Had some technical issues at the beginning with the sound. What went wrong, I've got no idea. But this program that I'm using, I think it's on its last legs. I might have to look for something different. So again, if anybody has ideas of streaming software, let us know in the comment section. People that have supported the channel in recent times, let me see if I can find that one. There it is. People that have given me a super thanks or super chat here on the live streams. People that have bought me a coffee. Longer term supporters on Patreon. Thank you very much for that support. And also the channel members on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for that support as well. 99 cents a month, you can become a member of the channel. Some new members have recently come on board. I'll thank them on Tuesday when I have that information at my fingertips. So thank you very much for that support there. Now, let's go into the live chat. Let's see what's happening there. Oh, there we go. We've got Ivor here. Thank you for showing my terrace view photo. Much appreciated. No worries, Ivor. I like the colours in that photo. I also would like to imagine being next to that pool on a nice summer's day when it's not too hot, in the shade of one of those palm trees. Maybe going for a swim every now and again with the lovely view. Thanks, Ivor, for that. Barbara's in the chat, coming in from somewhere near the Caribbean. St. Lucia, I think, tomorrow. Thanks, Barbara. Barbara sent us a photo earlier today also, which might make the live stream on Tuesday of a cruise ship somewhere. I think it was in Tenerife. So enjoy, Barbara. John is in the chat. Grandad duties again tonight, so we'll catch up later. Have a great week. Thanks, John, for that. Sani's in the chat here too, coming in from Basingstoke. Hope you've had a good weekend. Yes, Sani. Hope you have had too a good weekend. Billy, hello from Carlo Dog Training Club in Ireland. Very unseasonal weather here. Beautiful sunshine, very unusual for this time of year. Enjoy, Billy. It might not be around for too long. Actually, I would probably put money on it not being like that for too long, so take advantage. Janet coming in from Oxford. Good to see you, Janet. Valued member, of course. Al is also a valued member and a regular contributor to the channel here. coming in from an 18-degree and clear-skied Puerto de Santa Maria, went to Tangier. I think on Friday, had a great time. Ferry from Tarifa, is that? Thanks for that. Jay lived in Tenerife for a year after the lockdowns and wasn't a good experience. The winds are relentless at times, and the expats for most of the part were basically on the dole. On the dole. I haven't heard that expression for a while. On the dole. If anybody watching the video is not familiar with the meaning of on the dole, it means that you don't work and you get money from the government. On the dole. Johnny coming in from the States, San Diego, 16 degrees Celsius there. Good to see you, Johnny. Stephen's in the chat too from Torrevieja watching this evening. Pleasant weather out on the bike today along the Rio Segura. Perfect weather between, say, 10 to 4 degrees. Is that? Drops once the sun goes down. Cooler but okay. Yes, the temperatures at night are getting quite cool here as well. The day's not too bad, but the nighttime temperatures, chilly. Billy saying, yes, we can hear you. Thanks, Billy, but the quality of the sound I don't think was all that good. Probably a little bit echoey. Fixed it now. A little bit muted, that's the expression, that's it. The sound is okay where Barbara is. Thanks for the feedback there. Low volume, says Deborah. Thanks, Deborah, for your input as well. Working in France. Thanks, Charles, for that. Now it's a secondary mic. There we go. That was probably the issue. I've got different mic options up here. You've got the computer mic. There's different options. And the one that I use is this one here, which runs through another device there. And that was the issue. But it's sorted. Larry coming in from Cabo Blanco, Tenerife. Thanks, Larry. We saw the tourists that were swept away, ignoring the warnings. Rough seas, stay off the pier. Didn't listen to that. Went there anyway to get their selfie for Instagram and were washed into the sea. The mind boggles. Never mind, they were warned. Yes, John, they were warned. Didn't pay attention to the warnings, unfortunately. Colin saying, sounds like you're talking through a baked bean can, but still listening. Should be okay now, I think. Colin, let's hope. Let's hope it is okay now. Renan coming in from Los Angeles. All good now, says Colin. Thanks for that, Colin. Yeah, I worked it out. I'm I'm pretty good on the go with the tech. Marianne coming in from San Diego, California, having king tides there too. Very large waves. No reports of fatalities, though. They might be listening to the warnings, Marianne. That's it. But in Tenerife, maybe for whatever reason, they didn't heed the warnings. And the rest, as they say, is history. Raymond coming in from a sunny Bogota. Stu, is there much talk in Spain over the upcoming 50th anniversary of Franco's death? To be honest, I haven't heard a lot. I know that the government is trying to shut down the Franco Foundation. Believe it or not, there's a foundation out there that wants to carry on Mr. Franco's name here in Spain. I don't think you'd go to Germany and see a similar type of foundation working. I think in Italy, probably the dictator doesn't have a foundation there. I could be wrong. But here in Spain, there is a Francisco Franco Foundation, believe it or not. And the government's trying to shut it down. All coinciding with the 50th anniversary of the man's death. I think they're going to celebrate more the changing period when Spain started off on its road towards democracy, rather than the other thing there. But yeah, I'm sure. When is it? This month, I think, sometime, isn't it? I think. Al saying a bulletproof vest cannot stop a supersonic bullet that from a rifle. Thanks, Al, for that. Yeah, the police were also on the news today complaining that they just don't have the equipment to go up against these organised gangs when it comes to that type of stuff. Protection and intelligence and things like that. They say they're too far ahead a lot of the time. So they're always behind the 8 ball, as they say. Somebody there, perdon, is that? Don't know who that is. Needs to sort out these drug gangs instead of swanning off to Brazil to hobnob. I imagine that's Pedro Sanchez with the great and the good of the climate change lobby. Thanks, Barbara, for that. Colin saying the BBC Director General resigns. Interesting. Janet saying about time. So obviously not happy with the way the BBC is being run. YouTubers simply happy Sunday. Thanks for that, YouTubers. Andrew's talking about Mr. Feijóo. I think that's roughly the correct spelling. Was waiting for a good time to pounce on the PSOE. Not too sure now, though. Yes, quite lackluster. Steve saying, don't own an electric car, but hire one. No problem charging in Madrid. It's true Spain doesn't have the charging network compared to, say, the UK, but it's enough and getting better. So there we go. First-hand information from Steve about the electric car. Johnny Guadalajara says hello. Good to see you, Johnny. And Fluttergirl, the last one, the person that I can see here coming in from Toronto. Good to see you, Fluttergirl. Now that's the end of the live stream, albeit with some technical difficulties at the beginning. Sorry for that. I'll make sure that Tuesday we don't have a similar issue, or at least I think we won't have a similar issue on Tuesday. We'll see. But it's been a pleasure. Until the next live stream, hasta luego, hasta entonces, adios, and bye-bye. And I'll just get out of the way here now.